Hello everybody, all over the world. Hello and welcome to a podcast. It's me, HiGPS, with my friend, damn it, I threw the sandwich. CJ, hello.
Hi.
Hi CJ, are you having a good day today?
Yeah, I'm having a good day. Really good day.
Excellent. Alright, so we have a couple of things we want to talk about. First of all, it is the podcast, of course, the HiPod number 4. And we're going to talk about a few things today. Improv podcast, pretty much last minute, but we wanted to talk about a few things that is coming up the next few days. So, that is, of course, the end of the line and the matchmaking. And that is my phone. Probably says that I just went live on Twitch. Yeah, no, dude, I got your tweet. God damn it, CJ. I got your message. Okay.
I'm sorry. Screwing things up as always.
God damn it. Professionalism. All right. Got my sandwich in my hand now. Okay, excellent. So, what we want to talk about today is... First, I gotta set my sensitivity to 0, so I don't think it mattered. Hold on. Okay. Let me just bring up my document here that I absolutely didn't have because we had this prepared from the start. But yeah, first, end of the line. CJ, what do you know? What are you thinking?
I literally don't know much about End of the Line at all. It's kind of like just this thing that's been rumored and people just expecting it to be this huge update and people expecting like new game modes, new maps, new weapons, like all sorts of new things. Like I think because all the updates come out are mostly cosmetic ones with new hats, new unusual effects and things like that. Like I think people are quite excited about the potential of a new update that has new weapons, which is always a good sign.
Yeah, because we know that Valve has made some really stellar decisions with some new weapons lately, like the Eureka effect. It's just so bad. And other things, like the Pomson is still the same, like it has always been. They did fix the Spicicle, though. Personally, when I saw the Halloween update, I was very much what we called extremely dissatisfied with how things were. And I took a break, and I came back now and trying to get into the groove again. But it seems like most of the issues have been fixed that was back then. But yeah, what are your hopes for the end of the line in terms of, not new weapons, but like balance changes? Because I think there's going to be a few of those.
When you talk about balance, it worries me. Because what with the sticky bomb, the infamous nerf that Valve did kind of must have been a few months ago now, like I'm worried that they're going to do something to an existing weapon like the sticky bomb. Like I don't think it's overpowered. I don't think it needs changing. And I hope Valve don't come in and start changing weapons. Weapons that have been around for 5, 6, 7 years that really don't need changing. I would prefer to see things that, like you say, like the Pomson, like the Eureka effect, like changed towards being accepted into competitive use, being accepted in even pub use where people don't call you a noob for using it. The Spicicle was a good change. I like it. Something that blocks you against your hard counter shouldn't be that effective. Now I think it's much more balanced for the Spy.
Yeah.
So changes like that towards making it better would. I'm hopeful. Hopefully they go along the good lines and they don't start changing weapons that don't need to be changed.
Yeah. Of course, I hope they change the sticky launcher a little bit at least, or do something with it. But nothing that will harm you, poor Demo Man. Of course, we know it's
as I've just started playing Demo Man in Highlander this season. Yeah, that wouldn't be a good sign.
No, like I'm hoping for a change that doesn't like fuck you over like the previous buff nerf did, like something. I'm thinking something similar to the Equalizer, maybe just splitting it so you get like the weapons become better than what they are at the moment, but they become better at different things. So you kind of choose, like, are you kind of the spammy type or the trap type? Are you a trap, CJ? Do you like traps?
I like traps, but I prefer using it to sort of deal the damage out, and I mostly use pipes as well. So
because basically, I think the issue with the sticky launcher is that if you get good with it, and you can do so much with it. And I think like having a sticky launcher that is basically just arced rocket launchers that are detonations. So like it's better for air detonations, like landing air shots, but not as good as to trap with. And then one that is good to trap with and not good at shooting air. the kind of thing. So you kind of like, oh yeah, this demo man, I can bomb him, so I don't stick on the ground as much if you're a soldier or something like that. Or if you get like the anti-air, it's like, oh yeah, he's not going to make a lot of traps, so we can change our playstyle. But like, he's going to be lethal against air stuff and lethal on the ground. Basically, that's what I mean by a good split of the sticky launcher. And I think that could work if it's not the guy who made the Eureka effect that makes the changes. Also, one thing, like I did a pyro episode with stock pyro, just using the stock loadout. Have you ever used the stock loadout as a pyro?
Yeah, I mean, Pyro was my most played class when I first started playing this game, which was sort of about in 2008. And like, it was fun to play, and then they had the Pyro update, which, you know, added things like the flare gun and the extinguisher, and it was like, oh wow, like it's made this class more versatile. But the stock loadout kind of, it relies on ambush, it relies on WM1. It relies on you to kind of sacrifice yourself a lot of the time because you don't have that burst damage you get with kind of the extinguisher or the flamethrower.
Yeah, my kind of idea is like, I haven't played stock pyro with like regular flamethrower shot. Like the shotgun is still good, but it's like, oh yeah, if you play stock pyro, you got to use the shotgun like all the time because the flamethrower has limited range, doesn't shoot as fast, doesn't burn as much as you'd think, and there's no reason to use the fire axe ever, pretty much. So I'm hoping to see some changes to that, similar to like the shovel, bone saw, fire axe. I'm hoping they do something to those, like maybe add something or remove something from other unlocks, so there's like a reason to use them. Same goes for heavy with the fists. Or like, when do you ever sit down and go like, man, I gotta use the fists, punch somebody? No, you never do that.
Yeah, I think that's what TF2 really needs, because I want to start a game in Highlander or 6v6, and I want to sit down and I want to have to think about what loadout I'm going to be using. At the moment, you know, like last season in Highlander, I played heavy, and that was pretty much stock minigun, sandwich, fist of steel, or the GRU. You know, there wasn't really much thought going into it. And at this season, Demo Man, it's kind of like, oh, sticky launcher and pipe launcher, easy. But you look at the soldier. Soldier is so versatile at the moment. You know, you can run default stock rocket launcher, you can run the black box, you can run the Beggar's Bazooka, you can run the direct hit. Like, they're all viable options. And then you've got the banners, you've got the buff banner, the Contra, the battalions, you've got gunboats that you use, you can use shotgun. I mean, we did a cast the other day, didn't we, where we saw Josh, I think it was, running shotgun as on a soldier on the flank in Highlander. Like, so when you play soldier in Highlander, and even 6v6, you can sit there and you can think a few minutes, like, how do I want to do it? And you can change it multiple times during the course of a game. I don't think many classes kind of have that versatility, and, you know, spy maybe, scout possibly, but some of the classes you just kind of, you stick to what you know, and you stick to what's best. There is a defined kind of ranking of the weapons.
Oh yeah.
I want to be able to have some new weapons or some weapons that have been tweaked a little bit so that I can think, oh, actually, you know, I might want to use that today.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the reason I brought up Pyro is that I think the stock Pyro is pretty weak, especially against Demo Man, especially against the sticky launcher. Because basically, if you one-on-one a Demo Man and he puts a sticky where he's at, and he puts a sticky near you, he's going to kill you regardless of what you try. If you're in a way, he's going to kill you, and if you try to go in close and burn him, which you're supposed to be good at, he's going to rocket jump, try to sticky jump away, and he's going to kill you regardless in two stickies. Those are against really good Demo Man though, but in theory, the Pyro should be more dangerous. The Pyro doesn't really have an oh shit factor, like many other classes have. Like, if I run around a corner and I see 8 sticky bombs, I go, oh shit, and then I die. Or if I run a straight line, I see a sniper, I go, oh shit. Or after the spy stabs me, I go, oh shit, a spy, you know. But you never go like, oh shit, an engineer. Or, oh shit, well, you go, oh shit, level 3. But you go, goddammit, fucking mini sentries is what you do. So the engineer has some oh shit factor. But what I would really like to see is just a change to the Pyro class, because they've been changing it, like giving him more burn damage and less burn damage. But I would like to see if the Pyro is killed a certain way, like let's say with explosions, when he dies, he explodes again, and whoever's in range gets put on fire because his like propane tank explodes or something. So it's like Pyro's even more dangerous when he comes close, and he becomes like a suicide class similar to the soldier. But it makes sense to have a close range class being really good at really close range, like going in, especially against heavies. Because Pyro, like, I know Pyro's supposed to be bad against heavies, but man, they really, like, if you have a ton of Pyros and you have 2 heavies, they're gonna kill every single one. I'm not sure, how do you feel about that? Like, if a Pyro is killed by explosives, his propane tank explodes and is like Like basically, rocket launcher dealing 50 damage plus afterburn. What do you think of that?
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I mean, you could add that into a weapon and just say, look, make either the stock or make an unlock have that kind of feature that when they die, they have this kind of explosion of the tank afterwards.
I mean, just in general, like the class.
Oh, in general.
Is like, yeah, like regardless of unlock, you could do that. Because then running the regular flamethrower might be more valuable if you're going for like suicide runs and stuff like that. Because most pyros, they just run in and burn and die anyway. And it would be a nice little boost, I think, to the pyro. But we'll have to see how that works in practice, though. But that's one thing I'd like to see about how Valve listens. Pyro explodes on destruct, whatever. Also, I'd like to see a buff to Family Business Tomislav Eviction Notice. Those are just lower DPS versions of the stock items, and we never really uses the shotgun or the fists anyway. So there you go. I'd also like to see a change to the gloves running urgently, so you only run faster when you punch. So you have to keep punching to run fast. That makes sense, right? Physics and stuff like that. But as for new items, there's one thing I really like to see for the engineer, and that is catapults, or like a spring, instead of teleporters.
Getting on medieval.
Yeah, like medieval, but like it could really work. Because a teleporter is nice, and it works with like getting your team faster to the front. But a catapult will launch people, and maybe like make him not take fall damage or anything. Of course, you could troll with it, but you could have two of them. So let's say you have a catapult up to the roof on Badwater, and you have a catapult that launches enemies into, or launches your friends into the enemy lines. Let's say a heavy walks on it and spins up his minigun. It basically becomes a bombing heavy because of the catapult. That would be fun.
It would be an interesting mechanic where you could kind of like launch people forward.
Yeah, because you won't have a teleporter, and you won't have like people underestimate or take for granted the power of the teleporter, because it's kind of like always there. And yeah, I really noticed that in the Engineer War update, or the Engineer update. There's also going to be a war with engineers soon. But yeah, engineers with mini sentries did not build teleporters, and man, that fucking sucks. 8 engineers, 0 teleporters. That was stupid.
Yeah, like you always get that with kind of in the pubs, and you see how helpful a teleporter can be, because especially when you get to level 3, you can be sending your teammates up to the front line, and I'd be interesting if someone did a calculation on an average kind of 12v12 server or something, and saw how quickly it would take the difference between walking 5 respawns up to the front lines, or having them take a level 3, and kind of the difference it would make. It makes a huge difference.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, like an interesting mechanic that would be the catapult, and I'd like to see things like that. I'd like to see new weapons that aren't unbalanced but are kind of just make you want to change.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I did the when I did the what makes a good unlock, it's basically like the formula. Like you have to keep the class integrity. A good example of that was a Spicicle. Like the Spicicle helped before the nerf helped Spy escape pyros. But the thing is, spies are never really supposed to be able to escape pyros, regardless of what they use, if they're on fire. That's kind of the thing. And that thing was like basically another get-out-of-jail-free card upon another get-out-of-free-jail card, more or less. But like, if you look at the engineer, the teleporter is getting people to the front line, like moving people. And so is a catapult. It's also moving people. So it's like the same principle, but just in a different way. And I think it could be really fun, especially if you could launch buildings. Imagine that you put like a level 3 on the catapult, and it just launches in, and it has to build and gets destroyed every time, because
that would scare the shit out of you.
Yeah,
you could see like
incoming
you could launch
level
a heavy
3
in front of you, or level 3, just landing right in front of you.
Yeah, one thing I also like to see for the engineer is a secondary loadout where he just throws like a upgrade kit on something. So like he can just put like when you throw it, it takes away all your metal, and it upgrades like your teleporter while you're away. It doesn't repair, it just upgrades. So it could help you in the beginning, because I think that would be, especially for those running the Eureka effect, as long as like it has a repair penalty, it's useless. But I think like sometimes as an engineer, when you're alone, it can be hard to maintain a level 3 teleporter if a spy keeps harassing you. And if you're not using the Wrangler and you're not using the pistol that much, like just having, it's basically like Girardi, I guess. You throw it and then it upgrades, one upgrade, and then you have to like spend another 200 metal on it. I think maybe that could work if you do it right. What do you think?
Yeah, no, that sounds interesting. I mean, there's so many like ideas that people come up with in the thing. And you know, every time I hear people say things like you've just said, I'm just like, yeah, like make it happen, make it happen.
Yeah,
Like,
but I'm
tell
not talking.
Valve.
I'm not talking about the repair node because that was terrible. Because that was
No,
repair while the engineer is away. The rescue ranger is kind of doing that, but the engineer still has to see the sentry in a way. But this thing is like you can start the upgrade because usually when you're upgrading, you spend 20 seconds just sitting there hammering the gun, and if no one is around, well then no one's around, and then you can just throw the metal. Maybe you could make it so it takes more metal, like it only upgrades halfway and you have to go back, but you can go and do something else in the meantime, or get more metal and throw at it again. So you kind of have to like, you have to spend 400 metal to get like a 200 metals worth, because it spends twice as much. You could balance it that way, and then the engineer isn't as locked to just sitting there and whacking at the building. It could work.
It'll make it more interesting for an engineer, especially on something like a payload map.
But it shouldn't like replace the other stuff, because if you want to sit and whack on it, that should be more effective, because that's like your go-to thing as an engineer. But yeah, hoping to see. As for game modes, so what do you hope to see? Because I hope to see no new game modes. I just hope to see some new maps that are good. Doomsday.
Yeah, I want to see new maps. I want to see new maps. I mean, I can't think of any game modes, other than maybe like a VIP kind of thing. But I don't want more game modes to be done and for them to kind of neglect the current ones. I'd like to see a new good payload map, a new good 5CP map. Things that Valve have made. Because so many of the maps that are played at the moment that are really popular have been community made and incorporated into the game by Valve. I'd really like to see them kind of push the boat out and make some new maps themselves. They can make quality maps, so it'd be really good to see them. And yeah, game modes, just stay clear of that. I mean, Doomsday, I think I played it on the first day and I was like, okay, this is an interesting concept, and then didn't touch it again.
Yeah. The thing about Doomsday is that it could work if the map wasn't terrible. The map is just so sniper friendly, like extremely sniper friendly, and just the concept of like capping the intel for the other team. Like having it one shared intel could work, but the map has to be designed for that. We've seen a couple of maps that try this concept, but it didn't work. But I think like the game modes we have are pretty much good. Could potentially see a King of the Hill map with more points than one. So if you have
there is a King of the Hill map at the moment. Sorry to interrupt. Called Reservoir. It's been controversially maybe included in the EOTL 12 season for season 7. It's in around week 6, so in maybe about a month's time we'll be looking at some games. And basically it's King of the Hill with a point at the top, and then there's an area underneath that can also be capped. So you can cap in 2 positions, but it still only counts as 1 point.
Oh right, okay. Well, I was thinking more like other games, like Call of Duty and other games where basically you have more points, and the more points, the faster the time ticks away.
Oh yeah, like a domination kind of thing. Yeah.
Also, people saying Arena respawn in 5v5, and I say no to that. Arena doesn't really work in Team Fortress 2, especially not Arena respawn. I've seen some of it. I'm not too familiar with it, but like the idea of your entire team respawning in Arena makes me want to question why you want to play Arena in the first place, because Arena is all about not respawning, and then you're going to throw respawning into respawn. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It's like the airstrike. You have less damage to do the... Oh, ow, okay. I deserve that one.
Don't badmouth the airstrike.
Well, I want the airstrike to be good. I think larger explosion radius would definitely make it viable. It's just that it works against itself. Like, it tugs itself in the front and back. But yeah. Arena respawn. It's a don't get me wrong. It's a great game mode. I don't think for me personally, I don't think it's good for TF2. I think TF2 works best around 5CP, attack, defend, and payload, as well as King of the Hill. Capture a flag, absolutely not, because the concept of capture a flag is you have to go to the enemy spawn to get the thing to get your spawn. But we can build sentries in our spawn and defend it forever, and you're not ever gonna get it, because we're never going to attack, so nobody wins. Trench war.
People always try to make kind of variations on these game modes. I remember what you were talking about, the multiple capture points. There's a map called Stand-In. It was played, I remember I used to play it in UGT around 6 or 7, yeah. And you kind of had 3 capture points, and you had to capture all 3 to win. It was okay. I quite enjoyed the map, but a lot of people didn't. It was played in ESEA invite at one point, but I haven't seen it since. Then you've got Capture the Flag. There was the what was it called? There was a Halloween version of it. I can't exactly remember what it was called, but you could capture the intel, and you had to capture it in a middle area. And
oh yeah, right,
if
right.
the
Oh
other team,
yeah, I remember
yeah,
that one. That
if
one
the
was
team
actually,
had,
that map would have been good if the intel was located in another place, because I think like having the intel in your base and carrying it to the enemy base, like you reverse it, could probably be better, because then it's related to attacking and you're defending. Like, you kind of turn it around. But I think one intel works better if there's like an intel in the middle of the map and you have to put it inside the enemy base.
well, there was another map, and again, I can't remember. It was played a long time ago, and basically, that was it. Someone's posted it. CTF Vitalism is the one that we were thinking of. But then there was another one, and I can't remember the name of it again. But there was an attacking team and a defending team, much like say CP Gorge or something like that. And the attacking team had an intel to capture, and they had to take it forward. And basically, they could only cap if they had the intel while they were on the point.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was basically kind of like Imagine Payload, but using intel.
Yeah, it's like I know what you mean. It's like old school Team Fortress Classic. That was like you carry the flag on the point.
Yeah.
You cap it instantly. They could do that, but we could do it with bombs instead, like they do in Man vs. Machine. You have one guy as the bomb carrier, and he carries the thing, and he blows up kind of like mobile payload or something like that. Could work.
Yeah, that's the thing though. We see all these maps like Stand-In and Vitalism, and there's so many, and you've kind of like Canal Zone. I don't know if you remember Canal Zone.
That at 8 points or something like that.
Yeah, and you had to try and capture all of them, or at least capture as many as you could for a certain amount of time. All of these maps have had such negative feedback from the competitive community, from the regular community. People play them and they don't like the change, and I just think the change has to be not as huge.
Yeah.
And we've seen some things come out and people have been like, oh yeah, I really like that. So people have got to try and not be discouraged by kind of the negativity from other changes, that some people would actually quite welcome a change and see something slightly different.
Yeah. So while we're on talking about new maps, we can also kind of touch upon the matchmaking system that is being rumored. I mean, it's been in the code, something like player skill, something like that. That's like our last segment here. So basically, whenever I say like I don't think Sixes is a good competitive game mode, of course I get shot by everyone in the Sixes community, and they're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And then I say the same thing about Highlander, and people are like, "What the fuck? You don't like anything?" And I'm like, "Yeah, well, yeah, they're fine, but they're not perfect, because they're both they both have something that the other lacks." Sixes lacks proper class representations, like Scout and Soldiers are kind of overrepresented by having two of them. And the lesser players you have on a field, the more effective the Scout and the Soldier is. And a Highlander, but the good thing about Sixes is you never know if anyone's going to go like a surprise sniper or a surprise spy. So it's like that uncertainty, like are they off-classing or are they not? But Highlander, everyone is well represented, but you don't have that. You always know what they're running, which is kind of a problem. So I'm hoping to see a game mode that combines the two. Like everyone's well represented and you don't necessarily know what the other team is running. So that's why I'm hoping like Highlander +1, where you have like a wild card or maybe 10v10 or some other stuff like that. Have you thought about like supply caps on or class limits in terms of supply, similar to RTSs? Do you know what I mean?
How would that work out, do you mean?
No, let's say like on your team you have like X amount of supply. Let's say you have like 18 supply, right? And one class is 1 supply, and heavy is like 2, and medic's like 3.
I see.
And you can only have so many of each, and you can like stack it around, so you can like choose to have less classes but more powerful ones, but that wouldn't make a lot of sense with the players, so I'm not entirely sure how that
There's
would
so
work.
many ways you could do it. I mean,
Yeah.
someone in the stream has mentioned fours, and again, I think that's not really a viable game mode. I mean, people can play it and they can enjoy it, and that's great. That's entirely up to them. But
Yeah.
the way I see it is entirely a deathmatch fest, and you get players that are good at deathmatch, then they're going to be winning that, because there's not as much coordination in fours as you can have with more players.
And aren't the rule that you can only run a medic or a heavy or something like that?
Yeah.
You can't run both. Yeah. So there's like some weird stuff there. I mean, a good competitive game mode, anyone should be able to play the class they want to play and use the unlocks they want to use, unless they're like broken from like a design perspective. Like I think the Bizarre Bargain has some bugs with if you hold reload or something. I don't know, like stuff like that. But basically not because Oh yeah. Speaking of broken stuff, Darwin Danger Shield. I want to see a change to that. So,
Yeah, definitely.
if you get headshot, it falls off. So you can survive a headshot, and then it falls off, and then maybe
That would be very
regenerates,
interesting
or
mechanic.
it's
Actually, I
basically
like
the
that.
Razorback with health, or plus 25 health, critical headshot reduces health to 1, and gives a healing debuff or something. So you will always survive a quick scope, but you will have like 1 health. So if the other sniper like headshots you and pulls out the SMG, he's gonna snipe you from afar. Same with the spy. If you have full overheal, I don't remember how much health that is. It's like over 200, right? Over 200 for
Yeah.
over 200. Spy with Ambassador takes you down to 1, right? So yeah, I would like to see that. That's just on a side note.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, going back to the game modes, I just think that it's the way that Valve are looking at the matchmaking. They've already said, and their staff has said that they don't like the 6v6 game mode, simply because it doesn't include as many of the classes as possible.
Exactly.
I mean, it's very much clutch situations, specific situations when you're going to run a sniper or a spy or a pyro or a heavy or an engineer. All of the other classes are there 24/7 generally, but you're going to get the off classes only at rare situations. And then again, Highlander, I really like Highlander because it uses one of every class. I enjoy sixes because, like you said, you get that kind of it's much more intense. There's a lot less players. There's more pressure on you to perform.
Because
yeah, much more fast paced.
You can't really slow down the play in sixes as much as you can in Highlander. Let's say like if you're playing 5 CP and one team is like, yeah, we don't really need to attack anymore. We can just bunker down, and then they get a level 3 up and they never attack. You should be allowed to do that. And then of course, you need to have tools to break that, but it's always harder to attack than it is to defend because of high ground and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the matchmaking system. I hope it's going to be like not abused, but it's going to be that anyway.
I think it will be. It's inevitable that people are going to try to. But I'm sad that it wasn't included into the game much earlier on when someone like myself could have made more advantage of it.
Because I'm hoping like they introduce some sort of league system where it's based on who you play against and how well you do. So you kind of get like the more you play, the more accurate the game gets, like your idea of how good you are, and then you like end up with other people that have the same stats. But
yeah, I'm not sure if you're familiar with CS:GO, and they have a ranking system.
But I've heard the matchmaking system there is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, basically, the better you do, the higher your rank is, and when you're a higher rank, you play with people of a similar rank. So it's basically what you've just said. So logic would dictate that the better you are, the better players you're playing with, and the higher quality matches you'll be able to play with.
Yeah.
The only thing I would worry about is hackers ruining that, and I know people do that in CS:GO, and it will be disappointing if you get up there and there's going to be people hacking. But hopefully there won't be, and it could be a very good thing to introduce people, if not becoming a mainstream competitive format, to at least get people interested and be like, okay, I quite like playing competitive TF2, and then they'll start looking up for the leagues like ETF2L, UGC, ESEA, and such like that.
Because I think if you make a matchmaking system, you could basically have organized 12v12 that's being organized by a system that is preventing people from doing some rushes or something. Like just a main class rush, because if you go 12 demo, the only thing that's going to beat that is 12 engineers with gunslingers and short circuits. That's like the only thing. So some restrictions like supply, I guess, or class limits. Maybe like limit every class to 2, so you can change it around. Maybe have 10v10 for starters, so you can have, how would that work? 2 of everything, 2 demos, 2 medics, 2 heavies. Nah.
That'd be way too many demos.
Yeah.
I did think of one fun format. I do have to go, but one before I go. I've got something that would be good if you had a bunch of friends to do 8v8. And how it would work is you'd sort your lineup out and you'd miss out a class. So say one team didn't have a spy, the other team chose not to run, I don't know, a scout or something. And then when somebody dies, they have to change their class. And it has to be changed into the class that wasn't being used.
Ooh.
So for example, if you didn't use a spy, the person who dies first has to change to spy. The person who dies second then has to change to scout. And basically everyone would keep having to rotate their classes throughout all of the different classes throughout the game. And then that would mean each time you pushed, there would be a different class that you're missing. And it would constantly keep changing. And it would keep in that factor of, I have no idea what's going on, who's running on the other team. But but I think competitively it would be kind of weird. But
yeah, especially
as
if
a
you're an
fun game
engineer
mode, it'd be
and
quite
you
fun.
just get stabbed, but your buildings are attacked, and then you respawn as a scout, and everything gets destroyed. But yeah, I think like giving players a choice to change class, basically Highlander, like 8v8 could work, 10v10 could work. So you could have like, I personally think like if Valve would do that, I think 10v10, Highlander, one of each, and a wildcard class, and you can change whoever wildcard card, so you can have like one of each plus one of whoever you choose. Could probably work, and we could still play the same game modes, and it's close to what's on pubs, and competitives should kind of reflect upon that. Like payload is by far the most popular, and sixes don't play payload. Anyway, that's it. I'm looking forward to the end of the line update and the matchmaking update, if they're one of the same or not. We don't know. But I hope they don't do another Eureka effect buff or nerf or sticky lunch thing that they did, because that was terrible.
Yeah, I mean, stick to making things better, not making them worse.
Yeah, better defined by us. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. This has been the HiPod number 4, and we will see you guys next time.